A patron saint of death? You may not have heard of her, but recently Santa Muerte began making international headlines amid reports of ritual human sacrifice just south of the U.S. border in Mexico. And as 8 News investigative reporter A.J. Lagoe uncovers, the worship of death is being practiced right here in the metro area.
This skeletal maiden with the empty eyes is a saint for sinners.
It's very scary. I don't like to deal with none of that. To me, it's kind of like worshiping Satan.
She goes by several names.
I call her the Grim Reaperess.
Officially, she's Santa Muerte, Saint Death. She's also known as the Bony Lady, and her popularity is exploding.
She has millions of followers, devotees, both in the U.S. and in Mexico.
And many of those devotees are among the most violent criminals in the world.
She is the premier narco saint.
Dr. Andrew Chestnut is a religious studies professor at VCU. He literally wrote the book on Santa Muerte, Devoted to Death.
A lot of cartel members in Mexico count among the ranks of her devotees.
Santa Muerte is nothing new to those who battle drug lords and traffickers.
Throughout a number of years, most DEA field divisions have at one time or another been involved with the Santa Muerte, the statutes, and the rituals that relate to that.
If you are a cartel member, you can ask her that load of methamphetamines being shipped to D.C., Atlanta, or here close to home in Richmond make safe passage.
So how prevalent is the devotion to death right here in Richmond? We found candles that can be burned in worship to the death saint in Latino markets all across the metro area. And store owners tell us these things are big sellers.
How popular are the Santa Muerte candles and the dolls?
Well, they're really popular. We sell them a lot. Like in a week, I'll set up like about 30, 40 candles.
The candles are often used to set up shrines. That's the sound of a man being tortured. His abusers laugh at the adrenaline high it gives them. This was captured on a federal wiretap. Agents were working to bust a Mexican-based fake ID cartel that had strong ties to Richmond. A conference call was set up with cartel members to make an example out of one of their own caught stealing. The gang's leader says, "Now it's a torture, buddy."
He was restrained, he was duct taped, doused in water, and then had jumper cables attached to his chest.
Inside the home where the man was tortured is this shrine to Santa Muerte. We showed Professor Chestnut the picture federal agents snapped of the fake ID cartel's altar.
What really first strikes me is the black. We have a black Santa Muerte, black candles. In my own research in the past 3 years, I rarely come across an altar that has so much black in it.
Santa Muerte icons and candles come in a number of different colors, which all have different meanings. Red for romance, green for justice, white for purity or gratitude.
Black symbolizes harm, injury to others, and protection. So when I see all this black, it tells me that these people were probably up to nefarious purposes.
Around Richmond, we asked shop owners, which color is the biggest seller?
What's the most popular?
I would say the black one.
While there is an undeniable tie between Santa Muerte and criminals,
a lot of people actually approach her for questions of health, love, finding a job.
She's considered a multitasking saint with followers who are the very picture of law-abiding.
And many of their requests are the same that people would take to the normal Catholic saints.
In fact, that's just what this young Richmond mom tells us.
Yo le pido por mi familia.
I ask her for my family, I ask for my job. Most people think that she's a saint to ask her for bad things, but it's not like that.
Christina Castaneda shows us the Santa Muerte necklace.
And you have this with you all the time?
All the time.
Hanging around her neck.
Why?
Porque siento que saco.
I have her with me all the time because I feel like she is with me when I am wearing it, and I promised my husband that I was never going to take it out.
We found, like many who believe in Santa Muerte,
Are you Catholic?
Sí.
Christina doesn't see herself as part of a cult.
Cuando yo voy a la iglesia
God is first before everybody else. But I also believe in St. Jude, Virgin of Guadalupe, but I also have Santa Muerte, and I believe in her, and I just go to her because it's like any other saint.
It's a paradox leaders of the Richmond Diocese tell me they're just becoming aware of.
Has Santa Muerte come up? When did it really cross your radar at all?
I've seen fleeting references to it from time to time, but really had not seen a great focus on it until recently.
Unlike in Mexico, where she's been condemned as religious enemy #1, Catholic leadership in America has not addressed Santa Muerte. Father Ball, the pastor at St. Patrick's, says the church has the opportunity for what he calls a teachable moment.
Take them ultimately to what St. Paul writes in his second letter to Timothy, because he puts it very concisely there. He says, Christ destroyed death and brought life and immortality to light. Now that's about as concise as you get. Christ destroyed death. So do we believe that death is a personified reality? No. Do we believe that death has any real power at all? The answer is clearly no. But you have to walk people sometimes back to that place.
Whether you believe or not, approve or not, there's no denying that the worship of Saint Death is on the rise. A shrine to her in Mexico City draws hundreds of thousands of visitors each year.
Devotees from around the world come to congregate at her world-famous altar.
And those who worship her say she's not to be messed with. If you make a vow and she delivers on the deal, but you don't, look out.
If you mess with her, you're gonna lose something the most, like a life or something.
Santa Muerte is becoming so mainstream, visiting her official shrines now listed as number 74 of 603 things to do in Lonely Planet's Mexico travel guide. Now, if you're interested in learning more about the fake ID cartel we mentioned in this story, you can just go to WRSC.com and under the news tab, click on AJ Investigates. You can watch my 4-part series on the violent document ring that's been operating right here in the metro area. And as always, if you have something for me to look into, you can send me an email to ajinvestigates@WRSC.com or look me up on Facebook or Twitter. They both can be found under AJ Investigates.